Join me as I sit down with Shane Mahabir, the founder and president of Funder Intel, as we take a deep dive into what fuels broker growth, as well as the fascinating business lending industry. We'll learn a little bit about Funder Intel and the game-changing technology and solutions that they're providing the lending and brokerage industry. I hope you enjoy. Hey, Shane, thanks for joining us today and jumping on.
Appreciate you having me, Steve. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wanted to have you on a little bit to tell us a little bit about your experience and background and what led you to launch Funder Intel.
Yeah, absolutely. So Funder Intel developed over several years, being in the business. So, I started out in the alternative finance industry in 2014. So, working in ISO relations departments, for a startup back then, moved on to a couple different funders. Worked for a broker for a period of time, and then started my own broker company. And then kind of the pandemic happened. I was still working for a funder at that time, and I had looked at different ways to bring in more income or really solve the problems I was having in ISO relations. And I figured out other people were having some of them too, and that was connecting with new partners and so forth. And so I started kind of really just testing out, dabbling with ideas, and launch something very basic and minimum, which is totally like night and day to what it is now. But that was it. It was wanting to have my own thing and finding out how can I solve some problems people are having and bring value. And now you're kind of seeing, after a little bit of time, a couple of years now, I've added so much to it. It's really a different platform than what it was a few years ago.
Yeah, so absolutely. So right, I caught your background. So you used to be an ISO manager. So you brought on different agents. You were a broker yourself. You went out on your own as your own brokerage, and now you're providing Funder Intel to people. To solve some of the challenges that you felt yourself in the industry as being a broker and maybe even a broker manager? Can you explain to us a little bit what exactly is Funder Intel?
Sure. Yeah, 100%. So that's what I was doing. ISO relations, you bring on new brokers, new ISOs, and to help deal flow, right? So there are definitely platforms, websites, groups on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, to find people, network, or in-person events and all that. But it was, my idea to find something, to create something more central and to have everyone, as time went on, to have everyone reveal their true identity, right? So there's a number of different iterations that I went through of the total idea to where it is now. And that's, information, resource, media, education is really, an all-in-one platform, right? So Funder Intel, you can think of, if you're getting into the business lending industry, fintech, alternative finance, commercial finance, you want to find out as much as you can and be able to connect with people, network with people. And so that's hopefully one of your stops is Funder Intel, because we have that in different forms. So whether it be articles or videos like this, we interview experts and members of the industry, new or experienced. We have a couple of different courses, and then vendor lists. So people are always looking for, new companies to work with. So whether it be loans, lines of credit, SBA loans, MCAs, and then other software providers, third-party, companies, whether it be collection companies or CRMs, phone systems. So if you think about, kind of like a NerdWallet in a sense, or there's other companies out there that provide, information that leads you to that product that you need for your business. That's what we offer, right? So, and then there's a community forum, so you can directly connect with people, put your messaging out there, promote your company, grow your brand, and then also directly message and connect with people in our, kind of our social media profile section, right? So you can view all the members of our site, which is over, 1,500, and you can, which is small, relatively speaking, but it's vetted. The people are vetted when they come into Funder Intel, so who you're working with, not just some screen name behind a profile.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you know, at Intrepid, we use Funder Intel, not just for all the intelligence and education pieces, but to be able to collaborate with other community members, because we haven't seen really a one solution, if that's what I want to call it, in the alternative or the funding industry that shows where we can go to help find funders that could help us place deals, as well as work with the community, work with the others on the forum and the other brokers in the community forum on what are some of the challenges that those guys are facing. So, us being a member ourselves, but could you tell us a little bit about who can become a member of Funder Intel? Is it only brokers? Is it only lenders? Is it open to anybody? Is there any fee associated with it?
Great question. Yeah, no fee. Definitely free to create an account, and it's industry members. So almost anyone anyone within the industry. And then we don't cater to business owners unless they're going to become someone in the industry, a stakeholder, a broker, or a funder. So it is for industry members only. And there's the vetting process is simple if you're just someone that's straightforward about who you are, and that is having a real name, and we can verify that, right? It shouldn't be that complicated, but some, I maybe unsurprisingly so, make it a little bit more complicated, and so they don't have an online presence. So we have to ask for, all right, your social media profile, like really mainly LinkedIn, or let's see your website. Do you have an active website? If we can't get to the bottom line of either you have a real name that we can trace, or you work for a real company, we'll do some other things and ask for photo ID. If you're looking to take one of our courses, like the broker course or the underwriting course, and you're not in the industry yet, then submit a photo ID, or we could verify your phone number or something to that extent. And then you can take our course. And so what that we feel brings to the site is some integrity and some vetting of, all right, if you're interacting with someone within the site, let's say it's some sort of software, someone's selling you leads, you're buying leads from someone that posted in the forum. Well, now you know that, all right, Funder Intel at least knows who this person is. Yeah. There's not the, just like they're going to, sell you something and then run. We're going to have, the ability to trace who that is, and to help people out. And obviously we hope that never happens, but when you're doing business and you're doing networking, you're networking out there, you want to know that person is legitimate and that they have all, good intentions behind them for the most part, right? And that's part of our efforts to help the industry, kind of change and evolve. And this goes into some bigger things that that I can go into as far as how things are evolving with different law changes and so forth, because of the repercussions of business actions and practices.
Yeah, I love the part of the transparency, and really, I don't want to say checking the accreditation, but understanding who the user is behind that community forum. And you've talked a little bit about, okay, community forum, there's the ability to buy leads directly through your platform as well. Obviously have the listing of the different services that are out there and the online training, but what are some of the other challenges that early stage brokers and people have, and how could Funder Intel fulfill those?
Sure. And just to, with the leads, just to go back to that really quick, there's a company that we, have on our website. We don't necessarily sell them directly. So they're coming through in our broker course. They are able to get that through that company. So we don't originate the leads and so forth. But as far as the challenges for brokers, for new brokers or less than a year in the business, there's many. For the experienced ones, I mean, I guess the two main things are always leads, right? And staffing. So if you are just a 1 or 2 person shop and that's what you intend to be, there's nothing wrong with that. And you don't have the problem of staffing, right? But as you grow, and if you're 5, 10, 50 person broker company, then staffing is a huge problem no matter where you are in the country, right? So some places are better than others. You have to adjust to pay, and you have to, pay them accordingly so they stick around. And then leads is an ongoing battle. Now, as a new broker, the additional challenges are getting on with different funders and lenders of all the different business loan products, right? So if you are brand new, you don't have deal flow yet, you don't have leads, then some funders won't even onboard you, right? You know that. And so we help out with that part of the process with providing companies that will onboard new brokers. And then we also are developing some things, in the pipeline that we'll announce, later on, but help new brokers get on board and be able to submit their deals. Now, the the next thing is, all right, so leads ongoing. It's an ongoing thing. People don't want to do certain portions of lead generation. So whether it be cold calling or email
Mhm.
blasting or networking. And so they have to find out how to get that done if they're not the ones who are doing it. So they're going to hire someone. They could do, virtual assistants overseas. And so we help them out with some of that advice, just free knowledge, forum or in articles. And then some of it, we can also help that, in a separate, like one-on-one, consultation. But that's, the main issues. Now, there are also people that once if they're within a few months of starting, they're going to go through those kind of tough times, which everyone goes through, and that's really building your pipeline, right? So you're going to have those deals that fall apart, on at the finish line. You're
Oh
going to
yeah.
have slow times where you're not getting the submission packages in. You're having just your world's falling apart, right? For some of these guys, like, oh, how is it going to get better? How am I going to break that? Get over that hump? And it really takes one, kind of to be direct, it takes the financial capacity to sustain that, or withstand that. And then two, just mentally, that hurdle is, it's going to come. You just have to know that in everyone's pipeline, all those negative things, all those things that deals fall apart, someone, steals your deal, or, just the merchant was lying, or whatever the case is, that naturally happens to everyone.
Hmm.
You as a broker just have to build up your pipeline enough to where that's not going to affect your day. You're moving on to the next one. You got 5 other people in the pipeline for that week, let's say, closing, and you just keep on moving on. And so being a broker is probably mainly about that, is keeping up your pipeline full enough that you're accomplishing your goals of whatever those are.
I like that you're providing all the necessary tools, especially for these early stage brokers. Is we're a direct funder, but we also syndicate and we work with brokers direct. So working with these early stage brokers, could you share maybe a success story or two of how you were able to work with an early stage broker and get them up and going, and how they became successful utilizing Shane and the Funder Intel?
There's one that stands out, and a couple other people, and not even visitors to the site, they've become members. And then the main person that stands out is someone that found our site. He'd already taken a course, a broker course, even though he was in banking forever. He
Hmm.
took a course to find out, and it, it was a pretty penny. It was, upwards of 50,000 for the course, covered, everything in commercial finance, right? And then he found Funder Intel, and he, kind of start, browsing the site, and found, things that could help him. And then he decided to take our broker course. And honestly, that was kind of in our infancy, as far as the course is concerned. And we've evolved, we've added content to it and so forth. But the way it stood at that point, he felt it was more direct, more focused on what he was trying to do with alternative financing products, right? Alternative to bank
Sure.
financing, for those that aren't familiar. But, and he swore by it. And he said that, look, because one of the things that you'll want to create no matter where you are in your building of your business is creating processes and systems, right? And that probably
Hmm.
goes for any business out there, but
Right. Yeah.
specifically this, right? So you're connected to technology in some way or form, some fashion, with your CRM or your phone system. And so we teach that in the course. And so he found these things going on his own in ours to be very focused, very streamlined. Like, all right, you're getting the building blocks, the basics, but then you're also getting, advanced knowledge where where you're going to need it in a year or two, and down the line. And, I still talk to him, every couple of weeks, maybe, a couple times a month. He has some good things going on that he's going to share, with on our platform, as far as what he was doing before. Now he's evolved with some, credit building part that he's going to bring in, clients in
Very
that, in that origination flow. And so it's just one of those where I kind of preach to people, like, there's more than one way to skin the cat, right? But how do you create something that's successful, and that people can mimic and go out on their own? Because there's nothing guaranteed. It's what you're going to put into it. But that's where he's also found funders to work with, and we made that as simple. And so I'll mention
cool.
like our MCA funders list, because that's my background. It's the focus. MCAs are focus of our site, but we spread out to all commercial finance. But our funders list is the most complete funders list around. So if you haven't seen that yet, really, there's nothing else
Yeah.
online like it. Proud to say that because we put in a lot of work, and it helps people identify for the MCA, revenue-based financing and sales-based financing, as the lawmakers are calling it nowadays, that you can find the category of paper, funding files that these funders do, their underwriting guidelines, if they're actively onboarding ISOs, and then you can hit with the click of a button, ask us to connect you to the ones that are participating, but also the ones that are verified or that they've claimed their profile on Funder Intel. And this gives brokers a leg up where they don't have to do that research. They can go
Oh,
on if they got someone that hit them up on
love it.
LinkedIn or their email. They're like, oh, who's this person? Go to Funder Intel. If they're not on Funder Intel's MCA funders list, what have they been doing? They could be a brand new funder, and we'll be happy to add them. They just submit some information, basic criteria. It's all on the website. But we go through MCA contracts, we go through ISO agreements, and we find out the real people behind the company before we add them to the list, and verify them. Right. So that's a key to some of the feedback. That's part of the feedback that we've gotten, from visitors, from members, that helps them in their day-to-day business, whether they're even thinking about it or they just boom, plop on to Funder Intel and see if someone, that wants to help them with their deals is on there. And that's kind of where we're going with the things that we have planned in the future, is adding more information that's going to help you grow your business and just providing value as much as possible.
Absolutely love it, man. Absolutely love it. Again, we're fans, we're raving fans, we're users of Funder Intel. So now, right, we came to you when we were early in our infancy and looked and utilized Funder's Intel system as we launched. But what advice would you give to a prospective broker that's thinking about going in the brokerage or the funding business brokerage side of things, or and really isn't sure where they should begin? What advice do you have?
Yeah, I mean, one thing is to take advantage of all the knowledge you can wherever you're at, on whatever platform. But specifically, what is an ISO and what is an MCA, articles on our site are key. Probably our most visited ones, because it gives you that information that's going to let you know, all right, what you're in for. And then partake in the forum, ask some questions, simple questions, no questions, a bad question. But just know it's not difficult. It's not complicated as far as what you need to do in the business, but it's not simple, right? It's hard work. But everyone can get through it. You just have to know what you're good at and what you're not good at, and how you're going to make up for the things that you're not good at. Right. And so, there's also a ton of different kind of, niches or roles you can play. So, I got into this space kind of doing more of this now, and not working for a funder or working for a broker. If you feel like you're better at underwriting, maybe that's, the part of your brokerage shop that you're going to do the best. So you'll have someone that's originating the deals and selling the deals, but you're moving the files to the right funding company, right? And scrubbing as they say, which means that they're reviewing the information that is needed for a file to be sent to a funding company. And look, as a new person coming into this, there's no shortage of people that are willing to help, willing to answer your questions, and hopefully you can find some of them on Funder. You can find some of them on Funder Intel.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we can attest to that. So Shane, if
we
want to get in contact with you, how do they get in contact with you and Funder Intel?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the main thing is to jump on either the site. You can become a member, and then you can direct message me on there. You can email me at info@funderintel.com, and it is, of course, funderintel.com. There's also a live chat that I'll answer to on there as well. So even if before you're a member, you can live chat with me. Those are the main ways, and the phone number is on our website, but I'll let you know it's 954-861-0821 if you want to give me a quick call. I'll be happy to discuss any questions you may have.
Thanks again for joining us today, Shane. You've made me realize just how difficult it is to be a business broker, or a business lending broker, especially starting out. But with resources such as Fund or Intel, how they can continue to thrive and be successful as a business broker. So I appreciate you sharing all of your experience and insights with us, and especially appreciate everything you do for the community, Shane.
Thanks again. Appreciate you having me on. And always good talking to you. If I can be of help to you or anyone else, Intrepid, I appreciate it. And so everyone check out Intrepid if you haven't already, from Fund or Intel.
Sounds good. I appreciate you again. Thanks again, Shane.